Hey guys, my name is Bridget. I am a personal trainer, corrective exercise specialist, and the owner and run coach at Dark Horse Run Coaching. I'm making this video amidst this crazy season of life because I know that there are a lot of people who maybe weren't into running before, who are getting into running, or maybe running was something they did casually and want to lean more into it during this crazy season of life when gyms and everything is closed. And I recognize that while a coach is an amazing, incredible thing to have, not everybody can afford a coach and not everybody works well with a coach. So I wanted to make a video that was basically like how you can strike it out on your own if that's something that you want to do. Now, obviously, if you had a coach that was working with you one-on-one, you would create a program that was geared specifically for your goals, your training background, your injury history, your schedule, all of these different components that make you an individual human being. But I think that there are some general tips that I can give you that would help generally a new runner. So, keep all of that in mind, and also keep in mind that you should be under the guidance of a physician. So if you don't have doctor clearance to exercise, please don't think that I'm telling you you can do all of these things. But generally, for a person who is allowed to exercise, here is some good advice. So a good place to start is with goal setting. And your goals can look different depending on who you are and what your life looks like right now. But some ideas to get you started could be general fitness. Maybe you're a person who isn't registered for a race, who knows when races are happening, but you just want to kind of stay fit amidst this quarantine situation. That's a great goal to have. Another goal that you might have could be building a habit or building consistency. So maybe right now you run every once in a while and you want to be a person who runs 4 times a week and is hitting 2 strength workouts every week or something like that. That's another great goal to have. A third one might be you're registered for a race and maybe you were registered for a spring race and it got moved to the fall. If that's you, you need to start working towards building towards that race. A fourth goal might be base building. Maybe you're a person who doesn't want to waste money on a race if it might be canceled, and so you're waiting to register for something until all of this stuff kind of clears up. And so you want to be ready to go when those things are back on the calendar. That's a great goal to have and something to keep in mind as you're creating a training program. And a fifth goal might be to be faster. So building aerobic capacity, building speed, building strength. These are all great goals to have. Okay, so let's talk about your training split. So how many days a week are you going to do what? For a new runner, generally, I think a good place to start would be 3 to 5 days a week of running and then 1 to 2 days of strength training. It's important to build rest days, full rest days into your schedule. Rest and recovery is really when the adaptations, the physiological adaptations happen in your body. And so if you're not allowing your body to rest, you're really not going to improve in the ways that you should. And additionally, if you try to overcommit to something right out the gate, it's going to be hard to stick to and you're going to get discouraged. So starting small and building, there's no rush and no value in rushing into going from not running at all to running 6 days a week or something. Start small and build. You'll also notice that I didn't mention specifically how many days a week you might do track workouts or hill workouts or speed work. And you'll see that on the schedule too. That's intentional. That's not where a beginner runner needs to start. The bottom of the training pyramid is aerobic capacity, building that up. And as a new runner, you're gonna see tremendous improvement just from slow, easy mileage. So easy recovery runs, long runs, and not even touching the track. You can get there, you will get there if you continue on, but to reduce the risk of injury and burnout and to just let your body adapt the way that it needs to adapt, starting with easy mileage is the way to go. So what your schedule might look like starting out could be Mondays. You could do a run and do strength training. I like to partner up runs and strength training on the same days versus having a run day and a strength day so that you get that full recovery, keeping hard days hard and easy days easy. So yeah, Monday, run and strength. Tuesday, rest. Wednesday, run and strength. Thursday, rest. Friday, run, just run, because you're coming into your long run on Saturday. And then Sunday, rest day, you can incorporate yoga, something like that, but having good recovery on Sunday. So all of these runs should be at an easy pace. Like I said, that pace is conversational. That pace feels maybe even too easy. It's better to lean towards too easy than be more like, yeah, I got a good run and I sweat so much. When you're doing these easy runs, what we're trying to do here is build more, stronger, bigger mitochondria in your body, and doing that with as little burnout and fatigue as possible so that you can do more mileage. If you're running all of your easy runs fast, you're not going to be able to build your mileage as quickly because you're just going to be fatigued. And you'll start to feel like mentally drained as well because you're physically fatigued. So keep those easy. If you are a new runner, or you're coming off an injury, or you're postpartum, or even if you're like a really fit person, but you're like team no cardio, I would highly recommend starting with a run walk program. So doing intervals of run, walk, alternating. And actually on my website, I have a free beginner like Couch to 5K program. I'll link that down below so that you can get it. That would be a great place to start. And you can just turn this video off if that sounds like something that's appealing to you and just go ahead and get that because I've already written it for you. But if you are somebody who's already running casually, can already run a couple miles at a time with no big problem, you still want to keep those miles easy. They should be like minutes slower than a race pace. So like for me, my easy runs when I'm not in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, my easy runs are like in an 8:30/9, around that range. And for reference, my marathon race pace, so 26 miles race pace, is sub 8 minutes. Like 7:50 range. And so there's like a big gap between that, I'm not going out there and run an 8-minute mile. I could, but I would get overly fatigued with no real value in my training. And as you progress as a runner, you will start to add those speed workouts in, and those are where you're supposed to be like really going hard. You're not supposed to be going hard on the easy recovery mileage. So the next thing we should talk about is long runs. So typically you're gonna have one long run a week, and that's when you run longer than the other days. If you are on a run walk program, you can increase the duration of your run in one of two ways. So you can either increase the total amount of time that you're out the door. So maybe your weekly mileage, your weekday mileage could be like 20 total minutes. Maybe your Saturday could be the same intervals, but you're out there for 30 minutes. Another way that you could increase the duration of your long runs is by increasing the amount of time that you're actually running. So maybe during the week you're doing 4 minutes on, 1 minute off, and then on Saturday you're doing 9 minutes on, 1 minute off to increase the amount of time that you are running. So it might be the same amount of total time out the door, but the running time is longer. Another thing to keep in mind is that you don't want your long run to be more than 1/3 of your total weekly training load. So whether you're doing mileage or you're doing time duration workouts, it should not be more than 1/3 of the total amount for the week. Next, we should talk about building mileage. So whether you're base building or you're training for a specific race, building mileage is something that runners do all the time because we're starting somewhere and we're getting somewhere, and typically we have off seasons. So this is a cycle that you're going to get into as a runner. And there are kind of two schools of thought in terms of how to increase your mileage in a way that doesn't lead you to getting injured. One of them is not to increase your total weekly mileage by more than 10% week over week. And then the other one is not to increase your total weekly mileage by more than the days per week you're running. So for example, if you're running 4 days a week, you would not want to increase your mileage each week by more than 4 miles. In addition to that, I'm a big advocate for having recovery weeks built into your schedule, not just right before the race, but as a regular cycle. So doing something like having 3 weeks of building, so you're doing the 10% increase or you're doing the 4-mile increase each week or whatever for 3 weeks, and then have a 4th week where you cut back a little bit. Just to, you're having your recovery days during the week, but then having like a bigger recovery plan as well to just, again, we don't want to get injured. So having these recovery periods can help make those adaptations, give you a break to do other things and to mentally decompress, and then also just physically recover. All right, and lastly, we should talk about strength training and other things. Strength training, I generally, for runners, if you're doing strength training to become a better runner, I think 1 to 2 days a week of strength training is plenty. Now, if you're somebody who has like more aesthetic goals, or even if you have like kind of a combination, I think I kind of land more in this camp of like a combination of both. I want to be a better runner, but also I like want to look strong. You might want to do more strength training days than that. And you may want to do more like specific muscle groups, like have like a back and biceps day and stuff like that. But if you're truly just like, I want to do strength training for injury prevention and to become a better, faster runner, 1 to 2 days is plenty. And really doing full body workouts on those days is where it's at, with a focus on core, hips, and glutes, because as a runner, those are areas that give you power and keep you from injury, but also because most of us sit a lot, and so our glutes and our core is weak, so we need to strengthen that. All right, and then we have other things. So aerobic cross training. Now, when a runner talks about cross training, that is not strength training. Cross training is still aerobic. So it's things like swimming or biking or walking. These are great things that you can sprinkle in. Something to keep in mind with all of these other things is that if running is your priority, you want to make sure that you're not like sitting in on Peloton classes so much that it's making your run suffer or making you feel overscheduled or just fatigued. Running is the priority. You want to make sure you're hitting your runs. And so you can sprinkle those things in, but make sure that they're not making your runs suffer. And then things like yoga. Yoga is a great thing for runners to do. I love yoga. I like to do it in my own schedule, like 1 day per week, often on Sunday, to just kind of like stretch everything out after my long run and reset for the new week. There are lots of online like YouTube videos specific for runners. And I would highly recommend checking those out. And then there's other things like maybe you're in a CrossFit, or maybe you do like Orange Theory classes, and all those places have like online workouts and stuff happening right now. I would not say that like those are things you should not do, but again, I think it's really important to think about if your goal is to become a better runner, you want to make sure that if you're doing those things that they're not making your runs suffer. So if your goal is more aesthetic or like general fitness, go for it. If your goal is to hit a PR, go for it, but make sure, that they're not making your runs suffer. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope that this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below or on Instagram or wherever. I would love to chat with you. Also, again, I have that Couch to 5K, beginner 5K program on my website for free. I'll link it below. That's a great place to start if you are doing run walk. And I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will catch you later.